Welcome to another episode of the Punk Rock NFL Draft. My name is Dirty D from Dirty T. I've been really hard at work putting together all my rankings. That's honestly between that and a lot of other stuff outside with both my punk rock band I'm working on and my getting back to my career as a cook. I've been really busy. It's what's kind of kept me out of it, but I am recording a ton of videos. I've done all the work. You're going to get like 3 or 4 videos a day out of me up until the draft. And then even as the draft's going on, I'm going to do one about probably just overviewing my top 32 before day 1, overviewing my top 100 before day 2, and then favorite day 3 prospects before day 3. I'm also going to be doing my all punk rock team after I do all my rankings of, I guess get the lowdown on what that's about. I am going to make this available on the $5 tier for my Patreon for the actual rankings. I have not enough reports done, but I'm going to try to have all the reports done of the at least top 5 to 10 players of each position by draft night. And then I'll make sure I get all of them done after that too if people are wanting them. But without further ado, we're going to start with the Edge Primer. I'm going to get all these primers done again. You're going to be getting 2 or 3 of these a day for the next few days. I'm going to go over the top 10 of my Edge rankings, give a little bit of background of each player basically. Then I'm going to go over someone that one of my favorite prospects of the class, one of the more underrated players of the class, and I'll talk about maybe a couple I don't have in my top 10. One of the most overrated players in the class, who's not in the top 10. And then a player that I think is kind of like an X factor, and I'll go over a couple of those, that I just see as a guy that, like, there's a lot I really like traits, but it does feel a little boom or busty. And an X factor that I like, by the way. So we're going to start with the top 10. I've got Malachi Lawrence out of UCF, University of Central Florida, as my number 10 edge rusher. Malachi Lawrence is an explosive, like, linear rusher, and I like how much better he got year to year. I think he has a really good motor, but I do think he's a little high cut. I don't know how quick I think he is. I think he's very fast. I think he's got a lot to work on as a run defender still, too. And I'm just not where everyone else is with him. I think it's going to take him a couple of years to figure it out. But I do still have a second-round grade on him. Like, I think he's a good player. I'm just not – he's a first-round player guy. Derek Moore, my number 9 guy, I also have a second-round grade on out of Michigan. I think he has more of a complete power profile. I think he has a little bit of better edge, a little bit of ability to give you both power and finesse, but I think he's more of a power rusher. I think he has flashes where he's an excellent run defender. I'd like to see a little more consistency, but there's a few guys like that in this top 10, and we have learned that the power rushers are the guys that really they stir the drink in your pass rush. Power rushers, you need power to be a great NFL pass rusher. And I think Derek Moore has the power profile to be a really solid number 2 edge rusher on your team. At number 8, I got Cassius Howell. I have 8 players. I got 7 players in my top 32. Cassius Howell is my number 33 player. I do think, though, if I was a team, I'd sneak him into round 1 because of the positional value. And, the arm length is a concern, and there's times you see it on tape, but he is just so explosive and destructive as a pass rusher, and he has such a good pass rushing plan. He has such a high motor that I think even if you're, beating him 70% of the time because of arm length and 10% of the time because of something else, if he's winning 15 to 20% of the time, that's still pretty good. I think he's a designated pass rusher. He doesn't offer a ton as a run defender, but I think he's a guy that can create havoc in the NFL. And if you need some pass rushing juice, you absolutely should consider him. At number 7, I have T.J. Parker. Love the power profile. Love the size. Very similar to that Derek Moore player, but I think he's a little better. I think he has a little more like good to special reps, both as a pass rusher and as a run defender in the last 2 years. I think last year was rough, but mostly I think a big part of that was the fact that teams were just throwing screens against Clemson. I'm not going to give him too much credit for the South Carolina 3-sack game, though, because that offensive line was just abysmal, and Lenore Sellers, who I like his potential a lot, does convert a lot of his pressures that people get on him to sacks by holding on the ball too long and scrambling around. Luckily, he's strong as hell, though, and can break some of those, too. But I do think T.J. Parker has the ability to be a very good number 2 pass rusher. I could see him being a guy that eventually breaks the 10-sack barrier for a year in his career. Gabe Jacas at number 6, Zion Young at number 5, 2 more power players we will talk more about. I got Dave Bailey as my number 4 player. He's not going to be the guy I talk about as my most overrated. I struggled with him, and I almost actually had him at 5 or 6. But when I went back through it and thought about it, I do think his athleticism is going to work in the NFL. The run defense, there's moments where it's good, and there are games where like he's a high motor player that like he doesn't disappear or anything, and I think that's going to play. The reason he's lower is because I don't know if there's as much bend as that was hyped up. That was showed at the combine. He did not look good in the drills. He did not have a lot of bend in the drills. And then honestly, his big calling card was his first step explosiveness. But like the number I was expecting him to hit or beat, the 158 that the top 10 sack artists in the NFL is like the average. He had like a 162 for his 10-yard split. And that's still good, but I was expecting special, especially when you hit special, especially when you see that on the tape, he wins one of like 3 ways, and it's beating you with the speed, hit your hand down, but just being faster than you, not necessarily super bendy, just faster. Or threatening your outside shoulder and hitting like a spin move, or on a stunt or a slant inside and working against the guard, or open space. So because of that, because I didn't know if I necessarily saw like great bend, I was a little more like, I don't know. But I still was like, hey, that will play in the NFL. That's going to play in the NFL. I think that puts him more in like the Will McDonald stratosphere of a player, although I think McDonald has better bend. I put some more in that range of player, pass rusher. I think like a Bruce Irvin, honestly, is a really good comp for him. But I still think he's going to be successful. There is character concerns too. He had the game where he stomped on a player's head, and then he had the game where he pushed a reporter. And then apparently there's questions about if he's always had good enough work ethic. Apparently he's learning to love the process, but like that deserves a deep dive for sure. 3, I have Akeem Messidor, and 2, I have Ruben Bain, both the Miami guys. They're both special in their own way. Messidor, I get the age. He didn't test really, but I think he's certainly a good enough athlete, but he is the best technical, like when it comes to his pass rushing toolbox, his ability to set it up, his ability to execute multiple moves, his ability to just to beat you in so many ways as a pass rusher. He was the best in the class of that. He was the best pass rusher in the class. And he had good bend. He had power moves. He had speed moves, finesse. He could do everything as a pass rusher. Like to see him be a little better as a run defender, but he was a good enough run defender, and I think he is a NFL starter day one. And to me, that's the third player in the class. And then Ruben Bain is just a fucking destroyer, right? His pro comp is a young Mike Tyson. Like he's just brutal. He's just ruthless, and he has so much power and violence in his hands. I think he is the most violent edge rusher in the class. I love how he plays the run. I love how he just beats people up. He wins with power. He's not your traditional edge one, but gives me that Brandon Graham mold, but like kind of Terrell Suggs ish as well. Reminds me a lot of Jared Verse, just that power player, and he's really both him and Messidor really well schooled by Jason Taylor at Miami. I think he's going to be a menace day one. And then Arvell Reese is my number one edge rusher because I just think he's such a special athlete, and in such limited reps, he was able to. I think he had like 6.5 of his sacks from the edge. Pass rush win rate isn't what you want it to be, but his ability to flatten, his ability to run the arc, his ability to showcase bend, his power in his hands without any like real edge. Like it was like he had like 80 snaps on the edge last year, and he had plenty of production on it. His ability just to close on the quarterback and finish sacks, I think that's going to translate. I think you give him just a training camp in a defensive line room. You're still probably going to want to give him some snaps as an off-ball linebacker, let him blitz, do some other stuff with him too. But I think he is the profile of a special edge rusher in the NFL. So maybe my favorite player in the class, one of my favorite players in the class at least, like it's Zion Young out of Missouri. I love Zion Young. 6'5", 262 pounds. He had a really good PFF grade this year. He got a lot better this year as a pass rusher, but he is the best run defending edge in the class, at least one of them. Him, Ruben Bain, and another guy we'll talk about as well. But he is a good power rusher as well. He's not the twitchiest athlete, but like a 4.7, he is athletic enough, and he just beats you up. And he wins with power. He has some in his tool bag, and he's got that dog in him, and I love that. And he plays with his hair on fire. He is all action all the time, nonstop. I'm a Raiders fan. I'm not saying he's Max Crosby talented, but he gives me some of that Max Crosby like attitude of just an absolute psychopath of a preparer, just an absolute psychopath of a motor, just nonstop all the time trying to kill you. And I love players like that. 33.5-inch arms, I believe is what he measured in. Can't remember if the combine. If that was the combine, that means he has 34-inch arms because the combine was consistently half an inch off. But I really like this player, and I think that he's probably more of an edge too. But I could see him certainly being in that like high end edge two, low end edge one profile, and he's a 3-down player. He's a great run defender. And that power profile, he's probably going to create more pressures than he creates sacks. But again, you're looking at that probably 6 to 8 sack a year edge rusher that gets you another 40, 50 something pressures and stops the run. This is a player you want on your team. This is a player you want complementing your defensive line. There's a lot of places I'd love to see him at. I think the Raiders is like not going to happen as a Raiders fan, but I'd love to see him with the Lions. That's probably my favorite fit. I'd like to see him in Philly. He'd be good. He'd really fit the Dennis Allen mold in Chicago. A lot of people I think would be really happy with Zion Young in the first round. I've got a first round grade on him. Not by a lot, but in this class it's enough. I got Gabe Akis here as my more underrated player. I thought about it. There's another guy that I have that I can honestly have talked about as my X factor as well. That I have 20 spots higher than consensus, which is I think actually it was 19, which is around where I think I also have Gabe Akis. Um, something like that. But Akis is the one that went out. The other player is Jayshon Barham out of Michigan, who is an X factor because he's also in that NFL Reese mold of he's been more of an off-ball linebacker, but they've started playing him more on the edge, and I think he has the traits to develop into a really good edge player. He's a lot of power as well, really big, heavy hands, and he plays the run pretty well. Akis, if we want to talk about power in the hands, Akis though is a true edge, and I've got a borderline first round grade on him. I have him sneaking into the first round on my grades, and I just like what really did it for me and why he snuck over a TJ Parker for me. 6'4", 260, 33-inch arms that hits the threshold. Um, he's been really good as a pass rusher over the last 2 years. He is really successful. He is a no-nonsense pass rusher. So I think some people are like, oh, there's not a lot to his tool bag. But I think that there's more nuance than you think. He's coming at you through your face. He reminds me a lot of Derek Hall, who I described as a bowling ball of butcher knives. And it's that similar style of play. Like, he is all power, but he does some little things with like his hands. I'd like to see him do a little more, add a little more to the tool belt, but he has a diversified plan when he's coming in. It just all starts with power. It all starts with power. He's not going to sit there and Euro step you and do all this tricky. Nah, he's going through your face. Part of why he's able to do that successfully, and the reason why I have him above TJ Parker is he had a 1.58 10-yard split at his pro yard dash, which is in that elite category. Like 1.58 is the mark you want to show that you could be an elite pass rusher, and he has that. Um, he has moments and flashes where he's a special run defender. I just think he gets too aggressive. I'd like to see him kind of hold the point of attack, just hold the edge more instead of trying to make a play. Like sometimes he almost starts to play the run like a linebacker. I think that hurts him a little bit. But I think he's a guy that he can develop into a very good run defender, and I think he can develop into a very good pass rusher, like an elite pass rusher. He's a lot more linear, so he still might be more of that, again, more Jared Versey run through your face guy than a guy that's going to set you up with like a Euro step and do all this, to beat the edge with bend and stuff. Now he's going to attack you with heavy hands, violent hands. I'd say the second most violent hands in the class behind Ruben Bain. He's right there though, and the dude will just he wants to hurt you. And again, I like that in a defensive player. He's coming for you every snap, hair on fire. I really like the intensity. I really like this player. I think he's underrated. I think most people have him more in the 55 to even the 70s range. I've seen him slip in the third round in a lot of mocks. I would take him late first, top of the second. Um, I feel about Gabe Akis the way a lot of people feel about Keldrick Falk, who, no, did not make my top 10. And I just think this mold of player, more often than not, doesn't turn out to be someone you should spend on a first round pick on. I have a second round grade on him still. I just see, like, he's a really good run defender. He's really good at holding the edge, holding the point of attack in the run. And he'll make some run stops as well. Like, he's more of just a hold the edge, hold the point of attack guy. Um, he's powerful and he's super athletically gifted. 6'6", 276, got super long arms, over 34-inch arms. He ran a 4.68, I believe, at his pro day. It was in that range. It might have been a 4.67 or a 4.69, but it was in that range. Um, he's athletically gifted, and he's a pretty smooth athlete for the size. But This is the Michael Williams, the Tyree Wilson conversation, built very similarly to those guys. Uh, Good athlete for his size, but he's just not a good pass rusher. He struggled putting really any production this year, and that's going to happen year to year with players. But there's just no pass rushing plan or tool bag. It's just being big, strong, and I truly believe like Gabe Akis we were just talking about. People talk about him not having enough of a pass rushing plan, but year before this one, he had 8 sacks. This year, he had 12 and a half, and he had almost 15% win rate. Like he still wins. He has production. Keldrick Faulk doesn't win nearly enough. I think a lot of these guys, you're not going to expect their production to go up. I would expect, hey, some of these guys we're talking about, the power guys, they're probably gonna be like their sack production is gonna go down. We're gonna be more of that 5 to 8 sack a year production, but like they'll get you the pressures. Well, the guys that just get you the pressures and not the sacks are probably not gonna do that in the NFL either. They can't even get you the sacks in college. They can't even get you the production. You think they're going to do it in the NFL now? I just don't see a NFL pass rusher. Maybe in 2 or 3 years, maybe in the right landing spot. I just don't see a guy that is going to be a special pass rusher. I see again a Michael Williams type of player. I see a Tyree Wilson type of player. Sure, there's others I can think of. I just don't think he's going to be a good pass rusher. And because of that, I don't really see a 3-down player. Maybe if you decide to move him inside the way the Raiders should do more with Tyree Wilson, okay, cool, but still in that late first round value. And I'm not going to bet on that because I don't know. And if you're not going to do that, you shouldn't take him in the first round. He should be a second round player. Someone that I think is being underrated because we look at this 11.6% pass rush win rate. That's not good enough. But we don't talk about Joshua Josephs, who, when we do, people, a lot of people that don't like him. And he's a really weird player because analytically, until you look at the amount of snaps he played, like, dude wins a lot as a pass rusher. And he creates a lot of pressures. And you'd like to see him, like, convert more of the sacks, but like, he only had. Tennessee's weird because that's the big problem. He went to Tennessee, and they rotate their guys so much, right? So he only played what, like 100 something snaps, 184 pass rushing snaps, and 5 sacks, 4 hits, 23 hurries on 184 pass rushing snaps. He had a 21.3% pass rush win rate. That's 10% more than Keldrick Faulk. Guy is super long arms. He's got good bend. He's a good athlete. He's not like super explosive, but he's a good athlete. He's a 38.5-inch vertical jump. Um, like Josephs has the profile of a great pass rusher. It's just you don't see it's like he doesn't fully know what he's doing yet as a pass rusher. A and B, he didn't give him a lot of snaps, so like you kind of taking a leap of faith with this type of player. Now, I think the fact that he's winning 21% of the time in the SEC, I think that's something you bet on. I have a second round grade on him. Um, that's something you bet on, but like there's a reason to be scared of that profile. But when you're winning that much, it's not like he's not winning as a pass rusher and still getting 5 sacks, 4 hits, 23 hurries on 184 reps. That's still pretty decent. That's still pretty good. So I would bet on him personally. if I need a pass rusher in that second round, especially the third round. You get to the third round, late second, early third round, I'll 100% bet on him. I think I have him somewhere in the 50s or 60s in my rankings. But I see people that are really low on him, and I think that he's worth betting on. I get it. Maybe we're going to get burnt by Tennessee again, but there's a lot to really like about his profile. That is it for my edge rankings, my edge primer today. Next up, I'm going to be doing offensive tackles. That might be releasing the same day. Again, I'm just going to be dumping all these videos on y'all. Y'all are going to get a bunch of videos. Look forward to having more content out for you. I'm going to get through all of these. We're going to do a lot of draft content leading up. This is my favorite time of year other than football season. I love draft season. This is my favorite thing. That's why I do this. So please hit like, hit subscribe, leave some comments, ask me about some prospects. You can even, again, get my draft guide through my Patreon and see how I'm ranking everyone. I'm going to add more reports. If you would like me to specifically do a report on someone specific, I can do that as well. Until then, my name is Dirty D from Dirty T, and this is the Punk Rock NFL Draft.